I guess I'll do a quick update. I'm posting the teaching videos, and I have a teaching post ready for tomorrow, but I might post that Sunday. It's the Sunday one I made last Sunday, and it's a good video. I mean, short. Oh, I'll do a little bit. The Colder Times has quite a strange article. Not this one. The top story is Russian ads pushed Texas secession. These are all the, quote, fake ads Russians bought. You'd think you'd have a top story on the actual trial and the actual proceedings of Mr. Mueller, who indicted those 13 Russian nationals. What a debacle it's turned out to be. Because Mr. Mueller was hoping that he would never have to go to court on that. And the fact that he tried to postpone it, and a U.S. judge said, no, that it's kind of a sham. But they will never cover that. But Russian ads, top story, top. But then they had, let me give you breaking news. Because all the money that goes into that newspaper, you'd think they'd give you breaking news. Breaking news is there was a request made today at the municipal court to subpoena Chief Mike Markle from CCPD. Okay, that's breaking news. My friend, I won't give the name, but he's already got him on a witness list to subpoena him concerning a code enforcement and stuff of that nature. So that would be breaking news if you were like, well, the chief of police. But then they did a strange article. It's about a fundraiser. I mean, they gave a lot of space to it. I guess they're trying to show that this man by the name of Daniel Esperanza, he has like a No Child Goes Hungry fundraising campaign. I read the whole article. It's very long. And he coordinated with some popcorn salesmen. It's breaking news. So the popcorn guy that sold them the popcorn, he was supposed to help kids that were behind on their school lunch and paid debts. It looks like, as I read it, it looks like actually he was doing some of it, but then he had a bounce check and there were a couple other things. And then at the end it did indeed show he had like a criminal past. And so I guess the Colder Times is basically that. But the thing that troubled me was it says they went to his Facebook page. They did all these types of things that the media is, permitted to pursue. I take zero money. I bought chicken for a friend the other day. Do you know they could even question in Corpus Christi? They could question. There were people that were just feeding homeless people actual food. And the city came down on various groups and said, you're not allowed, in Corpus Christi, it's against the law to feed somebody homeless. They had particular permits and things they needed to do. And today I was with some of my friends, and we also had the other case. There were 2 hit and runs in Flower Bluff. The 2 latest people died by being hit by a vehicle happened to be people I knew. And they both happened to be in Flower Bluff. And there was a editorial opinion piece that the lighting on Flower Bluff Drive, and I believe it was my friend Stephen who was killed, because I heard today. But I'm still not positive. They don't show a picture or anything. And the other one, her name was Crystal. I cut out her, it's not the obituary, but her name is Crystal. And the husband, who's since gone, his name was Lee, he also said that the lighting is bad. So you do have a problem with also the infrastructure, meaning the lights are not good. There's a lot of areas where that's something you should focus on. I finished reading that whole article on this man, the popcorn man. And it just seemed strange that they went to that degree. The Colder Times went to that degree in like showing that he's an untrustworthy thing. And they investigated various churches and look at to investigate me is zero income. And I try out of my income where sometimes I take zero. And sometimes I don't have enough money and I might go on my own money, like trying to pay for people. I would ask the Caller Times all the money that goes into your paper. And I've publicly asked you some questions on open forums. Why you covered up for Mr. Manuel Benalis, the judge, when he had horrific injuries caused to people during criminal driving, and you covered up for people in the know. And I also requested in the past, let's have an open accounting of where your money goes, the salaries and everything. Do some of the people connected with the Caller Times, do you have associations with some of those judges and all? It's not just a matter of what should be another top story for today. Look, I look at the news all day, every day. It's possible that the FBI had what you would refer to as a mole inside the Trump campaign. Now, if that's true, the Caller Times and the mainstream media, they won't even care about that. That would be such a scandal that you would have both the FBI and Justice Department under a Democratic president found a reason to plant a mole within a campaign. A lot of these things are scandalous, and the only reason the media does not cover those is because of their own bias and their inability. I've heard people these last few years say, Mr. Trump's attacks on the fake news and using that, and like the news, the Fourth Estate, this is the freedom. And then I watch the stupidity of some of the media, the CNN, CBS online, and even World News. They seem to be doing it more professional. ABC and NBC, no. Caller Times, they're just like, there's a lady there, they're profiling on the Winhol's house. I visited the Winhol's house. That's a place that helps people recover from addiction. The lady Winhol's was across the street from where me and my friend David Martin rented a little duplex. But I find it interesting that the Caller Times felt it was okay for them to, we checked the Facebook account, we did this, we did that on this particular man, who he seemed like maybe a shady character. And maybe it was good to expose, But some in the article said it looked like he was trying to do something good. But then they had Bob Jones, who's a conservative pastor, got a talk show, and somehow there was a property that he used to. So I give you the breaking news. I saw the request, a duplicate copy, that a citizen today in our municipal court made a request to subpoena Chief Mike Markle. I'll just let you know, and I'll give you the FBI. Like I said, that's a big thing. The FBI might have had like an undercover inside the Trump campaign. Some of those things are scandalous, and the media is scandalous. How they purposefully, everything's negative, everything about, not a single thing is positive. And you have to at times, the whole opinion, you have to at times, we're at a process in the country now where we're going to be midway through the first term of a president. Okay, a lot of that is not what we had thought it was, and you're going on and on. I was with some homeless friends today, and many of my homeless friends work. Many of them try, and I won't mention the name, there's a single mother who has a son. He's no longer a minor, and he works a full-time job at our Navy base right down here. And the young boy is a nice boy, and he has a disability, a very severe speech impediment, and I'm not sure, I think they cut his disability at one time. He has to ride the bus to work. That family, that mother and that son have been homeless on and off. And the boy's working a full-time job. The mother was evicted at one point back, and I look, I say, the problem in this community, they're going to try and do something about available housing, things of that nature. But the problem is, even people that are trying, even cases of people that are trying, it's what we look at often in investing in real estate and all these types of things. We look at, it's good if you have the apartment rentals real high, 90-something%. That's great for investors and great for. You also got to look at times at the overall effect of things. I believe the former mayor, I forget her name, Nelda Martinez. I think she might have been against this whole bridge project because it's going to cause huge disruption. And the whole bridge project was for the purpose of, we'll get a bigger bridge, tear down the old bridge, and then all of the extra money that could come. But that money doesn't always go. It goes to huge investors. We're dredging our port, Deepwater Port of Corpus Christi, and it's going to allow to bring bigger tankers in, and we needed a higher bridge, and all of that was seen. But you know, a lot of the effect that's going to have for the next 7 years, I would say, a tremendous disruption. I drove some of those roads the last few months. I didn't turn on the video because they're rerouting everything. They got to shut the lanes. You have many deaths that are going to occur, traffic-related deaths, because of this disruption. And I would have said you should have thought of all the extra money that's going to come in to that port, and all that money. It really doesn't have it. A lot of rich people and a lot of rich investors, they might really benefit from that. And the port is a good thing to have. But the disruption to the average person that's going to cause over a long period of time, you've got to calculate that in. I'm glad my house is, I bought this house for $60-something thousand, and so it's doubled. I'm glad it has. But then it's also put people where I've had friends that are working and they just would never be able to make rent. And so when you make these decisions, and we say we're going to be progressive, you got to take into consideration the living standards of people as well. There's probably a couple of more news things I could give you. I was sitting with some of my homeless friends. It looked like the cops were looking for somebody today. There's a doctor that's been charged with like sexual charges, but the doctor, he was possibly accused of like molesting his patients. I guess they can't find him because on the local media, they're now looking for him. The Oasis County Sheriff's Department is asking for your help, to find him. If I were to teach, I would have, I'm not teaching right now. I read the other day, I was teaching John's Gospel, and Jesus said, it came from the Catholic verses. I was teaching John, I guess 15, but he said, I call you friends because I showed you everything that my Father's shown me. I'm not hiding it from you. And I was reading Luke as well as other verses. And then I've read a couple of sections, and then last night I felt like reread those sections again. And as I was reading down in Luke, Jesus referred a different passage. He said, you are my friends. Talked about us as friends. And then it explained. He said, it's a famous parable. And he said, the servants that when the Lord comes, he finds them feeding, giving meat in due season, they're going to be blessed. Those that are drinking, rioting, and all that, the Lord of that servant comes at a time when he's not expecting. And I thought, you see, he was even giving us information. You're my friends, so I'm going to tell you the things, how the kingdom operates. And he says, and I'm telling you this ahead of time because you're my friends. And it just hit me in a different way that he's saying, I'm giving you keys about how judgment comes, about things that we look at. Much of why I critique our local paper, which is a form of media, which has gone by the wayside, is because everyone has an agenda. And oftentimes they wrap up that agenda in their own biases. In many of the cases I've covered. But yet, they will tell you to your face that we are the ones who are just. Most of the media agenda in this country supports and almost celebrates late-term abortion. And if I just one night on TV, if the whole country had to watch a late-term abortion, understanding there's tragedies that occur in domestic situations, I don't blame the women, most of them are, but as a society, if you looked at it just once, that would be it. But yet some of the supposedly greatest legal minds, even though the original decision is considered questionable even by liberals that legalized it, a woman's right to privacy, but if you looked at one of the worst things that we can do as a society, a fully formed child, and we have said that's good, we have said that's just, and you know it's not, but because of political bias, you seem to jump on that bandwagon, not even recognizing the effects of the women that are having that procedure done. And if you cannot discern something like that,